The floor to the representative of Slovenia.
Thank you very much, Madam President. We want to thank Jordan for requesting this meeting on the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian refugees in the Near East. And we want to thank Commissioner General for his briefing. We recall UNRWA is a lifeline for generations of Palestine refugees in Gaza, the West Bank, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. It is an agency reflecting the historical responsibility of the collective membership of the UN. UNRWA is part of the social fabric of these areas of operations. It is a factor of stability. UNRWA's work is mandated by the UN General Assembly as a promise of a just solution of the Palestinian refugee question. It needs to be respected. Today we are discussing the critical work of drivers, social workers, nurses, teachers, sanitation workers, engineers, doctors, and other life-saving assistance providers. UNRWA staff members are the unsung heroes of the war in Gaza. This Council has held numerous discussions on the conflict in Gaza, marked by the dire human toll of the conflict, the threat of imminent famine, and a near collapse of basic services. UNRWA's work was evident at each and every one of these meetings, from providing shelters to internally displaced persons to delivering food and other essential goods. In the Council's discussions, their work is portrayed in a variety of ways. However, there is a general agreement that UNRWA has become indispensable because of its resources, experience, and knowledge. NGOs working in Gaza have made it clear that they are unable to substitute for or absorb the role of UNRWA. Secretary General, UN agencies, and the UN coordinators dealing with Gaza crisis have also been clear. UNRWA is the backbone of the humanitarian response in Gaza. We take seriously the allegations against UNRWA employees brought forward in January. While they are concerning, we welcome the swift reaction from both the Secretary General and the Commissioner General. An OIOS investigation into these allegations was established. We are also looking beyond on how to further strengthen the agency's neutrality and transparency, and we are looking forward to the final report of the independent review of UNRWA. Slovenia has stood by UNRWA and consequently by the civilians that it serves. We have maintained our financial and political support throughout this crisis. We will continue to do so. We welcome the fact that a number of donors have reversed their decisions and resumed their financial support to the agency. We urge other donors to revoke their suspension of funding. And we call on new donors, small and large, to come forward. It is simply about the survival of the largest provider of aid in Gaza. It is about the survival of civilians in Gaza. We are concerned over the continued obstacles to UNRWA's work in Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. UNRWA convoys are denied from entering Gaza and accessing the north of Gaza. UNRWA faces eviction from its headquarters in Jerusalem. These are some of very concrete examples. Among others, these actions must be reversed. Slovenia has consistently maintained clarity, and I want to reiterate. We stand by the UN Secretary General and the UN nation system in their efforts to alleviate the suffering of people in Gaza. We express our profound gratitude for the work of the UN and in particular for the work of UNRWA, which lies at the center of these efforts. We condemn attacks on UNRWA premises. These incidents must be duly investigated and the persons responsible held accountable. Madam President, the situation in Gaza is unprecedented. This Council has been facing its challenging in addressing it, but it has had a united voice on a number of occasions. As the situation continues to deteriorate, Slovenia repeats its call for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages, removal of barriers to humanitarian aid, and the full implementation of Resolution 2728, 2720, and 2712. We also call for the full implementation of both ICJ's orders on provisional measures. Commissioner General, I want to take this opportunity to once again convey my government's condolences over the deaths of UNRWA staff members in the current conflict. I would emphasize that just last week, the Security Council underlined the need for accountability for all incidents involving the killing of humanitarian workers. UNRWA staff, along with all humanitarian and medical personnel working in Gaza, are the face of humanity in this conflict. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Slovenia for their statement.